My guess is he goes a lot faster than that. I think he was just keeping up with Jeff.
Jeff's pace.
Out of courtesy for Jeff there. Glad you're with us at 6 a.m., everyone. I'm Eric Connor.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. Glad you're joining us. Wow, that sticky weather of this week and the rain. Leaving work yesterday was getting dumped on.
Yeah.
So let's see what's going on for today.
It was like having a thin coat on all day long.
Yeah, and it was
wetness.
It was really warm too.
Coat.
So it's like you wanted to wear a raincoat or something with the hood, but it was still really warm out.
Yeah,
Fortunately, as we wrap up the work week, we are out of that sticky weather, that gross weather, as I like to describe it. We're looking at much drier conditions, so we're going to trade the humidity for the heat as we enter your holiday weekend, which I'm sure a lot of you are excited about. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the numbers, though, that we clocked in yesterday. Mount Laguna, by far one of the big winners, getting close to about 1 inch, 3/4 or so. Campo, about 4/10 of an inch, as well as Lake Cuyamaca. Alpine National City got in on the action as well, about 1/4 and about 1/10 of an inch there. The probability of rain for today, a lot of people are asking, is it going to rain today? The answer, likely no, anywhere between 0 to 1%. So sure, if you want to consider that a probability, go for it, but we're looking at mostly dry conditions. We are in the clear for now when it comes to that thunderstorm activity. However, it's going to make a return looking ahead to next week, and we will showcase all of those details ahead.
Yesterday, a coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us. Because of their actions, we will never be allowed to hold him, talk to him, play with him.
Heartache in Minneapolis this morning as the victims of a horrific shooting are remembered. This morning, we're learning more about the shooting that took the lives of these 2 young children and injured 18 people.
Police now say the suspect had been a member of the Catholic Church where the shooting took place. And as CBS News' Jared Hill reports, they may have visited the church in the weeks leading up to the attack to conduct surveillance.
A coward decided to take our 8-year-old son Fletcher away from us.
Incredible sadness for the families of Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moisky, killed when a person opened fire on Annunciation Catholic Church Wednesday.
Please remember Fletcher for the person he was and not the act that ended his life. Give your kids an extra hug and kiss today.
Harper's parents wrote they are shattered and called on leaders to do more to address gun violence and mental health. Yesterday, the mayor of Minneapolis called for stronger gun safety laws.
There is no reason that someone should be able to reel off 30 shots before they even have to reload.
Police say the shooter, identified as 23-year-old Robin Westman, couldn't even see the hundreds of students and staff inside the church as bullets shattered the stained glass windows. At the scene, they found about 116 rifle rounds, 3 shotgun shells, and a live handgun round that police believe jammed in the chamber. Also, 3 legally purchased guns.
The shooter expressed hate towards almost every group imaginable. The shooter idolized some of the most notorious school shooters and mass murderers in our country's history.
In the search for answers, police say they're combing through hundreds of journal pages from the suspected shooter that they describe as full of hate and disturbing. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Police say hundreds of pieces of evidence have been recovered after they executed search warrants on 3 residents connected to the shooter. Investigators are also examining the suspect's electronic devices. Stay tuned to CBS 8 here on the air for the latest developments on this shooting in Minneapolis. You can also go to our website, cbs8.com, our app, and our social media pages for any updates. And now this just into our newsroom. President Donald Trump is canceling former Vice President Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection.
This is according to a letter titled Memorandum for the Secretary of Homeland Security. While former presidents receive Secret Service protection for life, federal law dictates vice presidents receive 6 months of protection after leaving office. For Harris, that period ended on July 21st. However, then President Joe Biden reportedly signed a directive to extend her protection for an additional year. Trump has canceled that order. This morning, we're learning former San Diego-based Congressman Randy Duke Cunningham has died at the age of 83 years old. Cunningham joined the Navy in 1967 during the Vietnam War and became a decorated pilot, considered a war hero. Cunningham was first elected to Congress on his first try back in 1990. He went on to serve 7 terms. His congressional career ended in disgrace. He pleaded guilty to federal corruption charges in 2005 and spent 8.5 years in prison. Cunningham died in Little Rock, Arkansas, from an unknown illness. This morning, we are learning new details about a groundbreaking study done on the South Bay sewage crisis.
According to local researchers, there is a link between water pollution and toxic gases in the air. CBS 8's Chris Groh live in Imperial Beach to tell us about this eye-opening research and why this poses health concerns beyond South County. Chris.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, we've covered this topic before of finding the toxic gas here in the air that we all breathe here in the South County. In fact, there was a huge focus on an area off of Saturn Boulevard where the high levels of hydrogen sulfide were in the air, and they called that a hot spot. And the same group of researchers continued to pour into the data, continued to dig into the numbers, and what they have found is that a lot of that same pollution, the hydrogen sulfide, those toxic gases, that they are reaching regions across San Diego County. They are saying that in this study that there are public health concerns for areas as far north as Del Mar and as far east as El Cajon. And this was a group of researchers from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, UC Riverside, San Diego State, National Science Foundation's National Center for Atmospheric Research, and they are finding that this gas is making its way into the homes and lungs of many in the county. A study by the team found that 76% of airborne bacteria in Imperial Beach that they are able to track back to the river can travel for miles and has been found in other parts of our county. Here's more from Dr. Kimberly Prather with Scripps.
One of the big punchlines is connecting water quality with air quality, which has not been done in the past. Basically, the community was acting as the sensors, but unfortunately they were not being heard, or they were being, and many times they felt being dismissed.
And Dr. Prather there saying again that she believes that the residents were acting as sensors, that they were sounding the alarm based on a lot of the health effects that they were feeling, the things that they were seeing, what they were smelling, that they had long been ignored, but something like this backs up what they've been saying. You can go to read more about this study by going to cbs8.com and clicking on that story link. Eric and Netta.
All right, thank you, Chris, for the update. This morning, California Highway Patrol officers getting ready to catch impaired drivers. The maximum enforcement period will get underway today at 6 p.m. Last year, during Labor Day weekend, officers arrested more than 1,100 drivers on suspicion of driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol. CHP says if you choose to drive under the influence, expect to be stopped, arrested, and held accountable. There's no excuse. If you are headed out the door this morning for one last summer vacation, listen to this. Today expected to be another busy day at airports all around the country and on our roads. AAA says the worst time to drive today between noon and 8 p.m. So if that was part of your plans, maybe adjust. And then returning home Monday between 1 and 4 p.m. will be very busy. Gas prices are about the same compared to last year. Today, the average gas price in San Diego County, $4.67. A week ago, we were paying $4.59 on average.
Taking a peek outside here, nice to know that humidity has gone away, but
Yeah.
these high temperatures going to stick around through the Labor Day weekend.
I mean, I guess it's that kind of appropriate, right, for this time of year, but yeah, it's going to be hot.
Yeah, we're actually trading the humidity for the heat. That's pretty much the main story of the weekend as we enter a big holiday weekend, which will be long for some. So here's what it looks like over the next 3 days for some areas. Downtown will be hitting highs, mostly in the 80s. And once we start to warm up, we're not really going to feel too much of a difference after that. Once El Cajon touches in the low 90s later on this afternoon, notice how we have settled daily changes all the way through Sunday. Now, Monday and Tuesday, things are only going to get warmer, but we're also looking at more humidity into the mix. So we will have another surge of monsoon moisture, but it will hold off until we get to the start of early next week. All right, here's a live look from our UCSD La Jolla Skycam. Gorgeous start to your Friday. Sun fully rising at about 6:22, setting tonight just before 7:20 or so. If you are paddling out this morning, a mixed swell bringing 1 to 4 foot sets. Water temperatures aren't too bad at all in the low 70s, and that rip current risk at a low level. As we take a look at the UV index, very high today, and it will stay that way all the way through the weekend. So if you're headed towards the beaches, I would make sure that you're applying and reapplying that sunscreen. Hopefully it is reef friendly. All right, taking a look at your current temperatures right now, we're seeing mostly high 60s out there, with the exception of Julian, still stuck in the 50s, sitting at 59 degrees. Here's what I have on tap for today's highs. We'll be in the low 80s for downtown as well as Chula Vista. Vista and El Cajon will be soaring close to 90 degrees, but a lot of those highs are actually going to be just a few degrees or just at normal for this time of year. Meanwhile, Palomar Mountain will be hitting highs in the low 80s, and we're topping out in the low hundreds, which is actually quite cool for Borrego Springs later on this afternoon. So here's that chance of rain. It holds off all the way through next week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's when we have that next surge of monsoon and moisture. That will mainly be impacting the mountains and desert areas. It looks like it won't really push into the interior parts of the county for the coast as well as the inland valleys. All right, taking a look at your roads as we switch gears, this is what it looks like on the 805 in both directions. Right as you make your way out of the Chula Vista area, notice how it's fairly light, which is actually surprising given it is a holiday weekend. So it looks like you're free and clear of any major slowing if you're traveling out of Chula Vista or National City this morning. In fact, average speeds anywhere between 65 to 70 miles per hour or so. And if you're traveling in from Santee, nothing too bad. If you're headed southbound on the 125, a little bit of brake tapping, speeds down to about 40 miles per hour or so. And here's what it looks like in from Oceanside as well as Escondido. Southbound speeds anywhere between 65 to 70 miles per hour. We're all in the green. Green, always good news. So looking like Friday light out there, anywhere between 10 to nearly 30 minutes to get you southbound, either in from Encinitas or Escondido. If you're traveling westbound, either on the 94, the 8, as well as the 52, anywhere between 5 to 7 minutes. And so far, so good for the most part coming in from the South Bay. Typically, we see these colors transition into yellow, but we're not really seeing much of that, especially for the 5 as well as the 805 this morning. And full span of the Coronado Bridge to head onto the island under 5 minutes at last check. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick look at your border wait times. If you're coming in from San Isidro's port of entry, about 90 minutes. Easy 30-minute drive coming in from Otay Mesa.